fulfilled? Are we going to enjoy the fulfillment that comes from it? Now, the education at that point, even our leaders, if we say education, we can't push them aside.
Yeah.
If they had the proper education, because the education is what we're going to be noticing in them when they make policies in regards to the nation. But when you look at the education the person had, based on him thinking of or her thinking about public office holding, now the question that comes to mind is, you want it by election or appointment, what is the education you have about governance? And what is the education we have today about governance? Do the people we have even in schools today, what do they learn when they enter into a class and they say we're going to learn government? What are they learning about government?
I was actually going to say something about that. It's not enough to say we have certain subjects that we teach in school. For instance, here let's talk about subjects that we teach in school. It's not enough to say we have these subjects we teach in school. Or like you said, even those that teach government, what exactly did they actually go back like to the roots of where governance started in Nigeria to start teaching students from there? Did they actually go that far? Now, like I said, it's not enough to say we have these subjects. What is the quality of the content you actually teach these children?
Sure.
Yeah,
That's another thing you need to put into consideration.
Yeah. What do we do with all the information? I think the system, like, we have to look into the system. Now you're teaching us this is democracy for the people, of the people, by the people. That is what
How
we
realistic
know.
is it?
Yes, let's talk about the politics of today. Maybe we should bring the newspapers to the classroom. And then, there's one way, real life is like, they say life is the best teacher. So now we can liken real life situations to what is happening in the classroom. So now this is what is happening. This is what your parents are talking about. This is what comes on the news. Many times I do not like to listen to the news as a kid. Because as a child, I did not understand. It was all big grammar and adult issues. But imagine that I was being taught this in school. Then I come back home and it's relatable. I can have conversations with my parents, and then we can actually talk about the news.
And the thing about schools, you're able to like break it down into like languages that you can understand as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, there was something somebody told me some times back, and I saw a whole lot of sense in it. The person was like, when you were talking about, it seems the whole structure was built on a very faulty and a shaky ground.
Yeah.
Because we are using our constitution that's been decreed by a military, and we're practicing democracy.
Okay.
How does that fit in? We are using a school curriculum that was designed before independence. A whole lot of realities has changed in the modern day.
21st century.
In the 21st century. That's why I buy into the idea of when you said, okay, you bring a newspaper into a classroom and then you teach these kids. Okay, this is what the books or the theory or the curriculum says, but this is what is happening. Study what is the difference. Marry them together.
You could even start like from inside the word. Let's say the school, for instance. You wouldn't say, okay, we're teaching democracy. You wouldn't say something democratic doesn't happen within the school.
In the school.
So even when
Maybe you don't allow a student voice or an
But
opinion.
exactly.
Yeah.
Could actually bring all of these things to play at this. So something happens there and you say, okay, this is a perfect or a good example of this that we've been talking about in class.
Yeah, because I kind of feel like the curriculum should be like a guide to what is being taught in the classroom.
Yes.
But no, it is not, because I can compare my notes that I took in the 2000s to notes that my siblings took in the 80s.
And they're almost the same.
What? They're no
practically the same.
different. They're no different. Just the introductory paragraph, the paraphrases, every teacher paraphrases it. So we're being taught the same thing over and over. So the educational system. And then there was something he said about, okay, you're being elected as a leader and all of that. So after elections, you just look forward to being sworn in. I think at that point, a seminar should be organized.
Yeah.
You might know these things, but maybe a little refresher would do. Maybe for every political candidate, regardless of who wins or not, because now there's pride attached to being a winner. So at that point, if you
somebody
tell
somewhere
someone,
might be saying, okay, it's like you ain't not informed. They normally do these things, but we're not talking about maybe taking our senators or our lawmakers just to go to the US and brush themselves. We're talking about right from the president down to the councillors. Let them have a little retort or refreshment concerning
refresher.
governance
we can agree that maybe people forget. I mean, do you understand? We're humans.
Yeah.
So we can agree people forget. They need a little reminder.
Yeah, refresher.
And there was this thing you people talked about. Was your education about governance? Why do people even get into the business of governance? In Nigeria, they see politics or governance as an avenue to make money. but in the other world it's not the same.
Servitude.
They see it, servitude. That's what they see it as.
Wow.
But here, you just go there, amass wealth for yourself.
See what you are going to do for yourself. Okay, but let's look at stakeholders in terms of nation building now. When we're trying to build a nation to be sovereign, or we're trying to maintain the sovereignty of a nation, there are many people that are stakeholders. Now, in as much as we want to look at those people who would have to be in public offices, let's also look at people who use what they do on the side, private sectors who end up being stakeholders. For instance, those who are into entertainment. Do you see them now playing a major role when it comes to sensitizing people about governance in the country, and as well as trying to promote the peace and trying to harness a unity that will help to make the present government in power, wherever it is, to head to the top? Because we've had issues in Ethiopia where there was a musical artist who was what did he do now? He sang a song that was against the government because he was with this particular group that was kicking against the present government of Ethiopia concerning some things that affected that particular clan of his. I'm trying to really put the guy's name in my head. I think he's long time buried by now.
Yes.
But that is one story. But we're looking at where people who are stakeholders, people who are on the private side, on private sector, who are stakeholders in the governance of the day. In Nigeria, of course, we do notice a lot of these people and their, let's say, their strides in terms of maintaining democracy and to also further governance to make things happen. Do you think that other people are making use of their own sector to also boost democracy and to also maintain that good governance and to enhance good governance? As well as teach good governance in those who are coming.
You see where the problem lies. When we talk about stakeholding or stakeholders, we tend to limit it to only the political arena. So others, like the musician you talked about, who are ordinarily ought to be stakeholders, don't realize them in themselves. Then they end up being used by these politicians. I remember how many times they want to go for campaign rallies, they pay musicians big money, they go there and they don't even really check what these people has done. They just go there on the propaganda and tell them. I remember what happened. I wouldn't want to mention names, but if it's healthy and safe, the band went to Lagos and he was campaigning for PDP in Lagos State. We know what happened to him, and we were being told how much he got from that contract. So people were looking at it from the angle of, had it been he didn't get this sum of money, would he have gone ahead to campaign for PDP in Lagos? That's one angle we look at it from. Okay. And then we've seen maybe in a very few fragment or fraction, we see people who know that, but it still bothers us about the personal interest. Like you said, George Weah was a former entertainer, a sportman. He's now the president of Liberia. But from across Africa on the whole, the rating is quite very low. And then when you talk about stakeholding, we still seems not to understand it. Apart from limiting it to the political class, that's where the idea of godfatherism comes in. They just feel being a stakeholder makes you a godfather. You decide and you dictate what happened, whether right or wrong, and which is not supposed to be so.
Adding to what you said, when we're looking at like the private sector, when we talked about entertainers, I feel like those that are, should I say, woke, permit me to use that. Yeah. Those that are woke, people, those that have been enlightened, have been able to understand that no matter how little, they can actually use this platform they have to make a change, no matter how little. We've seen artists, mentioned names now. We've seen artists, for instance, someone like Folarin Falana. He has actually come out like a couple of times. In fact, he released, should I say, a whole album? A work album, actually. He released an entire album just to point out certain things that certain ills that on the normal day a lot of people have actually looked at and have seen it as normal. So for some reason we've been able to like normalize the wrong things. He actually came out, he created like a whole album to point out some of these things have been happening. A host of others that have been able to, should I say, see the light, have come out to do the same thing. We've seen actors do the same thing. Just a few weeks ago, this actress Lala Akindoju was acting in the news because she was actually talking about how young people can actually get more involved in politics. And she said, to paraphrase what she said the same kind of energy that they put into voting for the Niger reality TV show, yes, the same energy and passion they put into voting for it. If young people can actually put the same passion and energy into political processes in the country, we're very sure like a big change can be made.
See, at the end of the day, we all know what the problem is, but talking about the problem doesn't raise solution to it. Now, he said something about the stakeholders not even knowing they possess this power.
Okay.
Now, it's not enough to sing about it. It's not enough to talk about it. Now, we know that a lot of Nigerians put a lot of energy into voting for a reality TV show. Now, but when you talk to me, when you're about to advise someone, you talk to them, you appeal to their consciences, you don't scold them. Now saying, oh, look at what you're doing, what if you do this? Now that is not one way to address a problem.
Okay.
Because you have to come, we know what the problem is. Everybody knows what the problem is. If we're going to pinpoint the problem of Nigeria, everybody has something to say about it. But now talking about the problem does not profess solution. So we're looking at people actually, they know the powers they have. These politicians are not stupid that they will pay the band millions of naira to come to their campaign. They know that he has loyalists. He has people that will listen to whatever he says.
Okay.
So they know. And so they are using him to actually drag people to their side. So if he knows the power of what he possesses, then he's actually going to stand up and maybe pursue a good cause, and trust me, his loyalists are going to follow him. So they have a lot of power, and I think they should actually activate it in the right ways.
Okay, speaking about the right ways, let's look at the private sector people who are being brought in, just like the case of the artists who are being drawn into the campaigns. Another thing is, who do you think this private sector people, when it comes to the nation, is the nation first? Is it what? Because it has a lot to do with the individual. What does the person put first? Is it the nation or personal interest?
It is their pocket.
That's
it is a business.
Another part is, have they even been listening and been living accordingly, like a life worth emulating? Because it's somehow when you say, okay, even if someone chooses the right person, that they might still go wrong, because they might look at the person's lifestyle and say, well, in as much as I feel this person is right, but look at the people that he has brought to tell us something. Possibly in the course of campaign, this person has done some act that every other person will view it and say, wow, is this what this person is like? This is repulsive. If this is the act this person is going to display, it seems that this is just what it is all about, because this person is being associated with a particular person that is trying to tell you, I want to seize power, or I want to gain power for the betterment of your life.
Okay, now we'll talk about them personally. Okay, I have never heard of a musician or an actor or an actress that was called to a campaign ground and offered money. They said, no, your what's it called now? Your propaganda, your manifesto. Does
You haven't?
No, I'm saying that it's called to perform at an event, at a political event, and it's like, no, your manifesto does not sit well with me. Like, it doesn't sit right with my conscience. I don't know how many of them, because if you come out to actually campaign for someone, that is you telling your followers, I'm all for this, whatever is manifesto and the like. I have never seen somebody that turns it down where money is involved.
Well, Wizkid and Burna Boy actually did.
Oh, nice one.
Yeah.
Nice. If people, because there was this case of when the...
But I think it's a little bit different from what she's saying.
I get.
They did not reject a particular person, they reject the entire system.
Okay.
That's another message on the
Okay, yeah. That's saying they don't have faith in the system at all.
Okay.
Now, it's different from when people are actually more business oriented than like they put themselves before the country.
Okay.
I think, like you said, it all boils down to the individual, the kind of person that individual is.
But don't you think the rejection of the system was because they looked at it and saw that at the end of the day, the parties involved were more of like a two-party system in a multi-party system, of which they were not vibing to the two parties that were...
At the end of the day, if you check it very well, the two-party system is even unilateral.
Man, look at what's happening in Edo State. Wow.
Today you are here, tomorrow you
look
are
at what's
there.
happening in Edo State. Now you cannot tell me you belong to one party, because I mean they just swap candidates.
So that means one of the problems again we're facing, it has a lot to do with the cross-carpeting.
You know, somebody said for Africa to develop, we don't need strong individuals, we need strong institutions.
Okay.
You know, there was something I was talking about, and they say maybe in a democratic setting might not be feasible or possible, where you're trying to cross carpet from one party to another. I was trying to discourage that. And then maybe I am a very young dude or young man who actually maybe I joined this party in 2012, 2015, and then you are crossing today. I'm supposed to be above you in the party. If there are modalities on ground like that, I think it will discourage it. Or when you come, you don't dictate to me, I dictate to you, but they will tell you whoever pays the piper dictate the tune. So at the end of the day,
so
it
you
works
come with
that
money
way.
and crowd, and then you're allowed to do it.
And then the whole thing now falls back to the way the society look at some certain things. What we've decided to accept as a norm in the society, it's another problem we also have to address, and you will look at it. When she was talking about people put their personal interest first before the nation interest, because they will tell you getting to the top is not as hard as remaining at the top. So these people may have this money, they might have all the money and all, but they want to maintain a particular status in the society. So the money keeps coming, they throw their conscience away, and then
they just vibe into whatever comes in.
So, because one issue with cross carpeting, I think consistency is a problem in government. Because like when we talk about the manifesto, it belongs to the party. The manifesto is the party's property. So when you contest under the auspices of this party, and then you win an election, and then we've seen people cross carpet even after winning an election, and then you win an election and you go to another party. Whose manifesto are you operating at that point? Now there's confusion already. So are you still working with the manifesto you told us before your election, the promises you made, or have you dropped that and you're now working with that of the next party?
There are always series of manipulation in the system. There was something happened like that. Was it prior to the 2015 election where somebody was elected on a particular platform and he cross-carpeted to another platform? So the particular party whose mandate he took to that place were clamoring for this person to be recalled back. But they did some kind of interpretation, manipulation, and all, and he never saw the end of the day.
Because what we have is like what is written on paper. At the end of the day, during elections, what is announced is this party won the election. It is not the individual. So if you cross carpet, if you leave the party, you should leave the office.
Wow. Okay. You think that would really work?
That is how it should be. That is how it should be.
She's calling for a reform.
But that is how it's supposed to be.
Because actually you won under that party, right?
Yes.
It is the party that won.
So if you're crossing, then it should still be the party, not you. As the candidate.
So the party won.
But okay, let's look back into young people talking about the not too young to run.
Okay.
Now, do you think, because we've had issues whereby when the young people came and said, okay, it is our own time, do you think there is growth? Because I will give an instance, not really an instance, but do you think there is growth in politics? Or do you think that, yes, because I am not too young to run, I wake up, never held any position, never held any appointments, but let's say position by appointment or election, and I just wake up and say, okay, now that it's not too young to run, I want to be the president of Nigeria.
Are you qualified?
When it comes to educational qualification, you have it. But you wake up and you just feel, since I am young and this is the thing on ground, I want to vie in for the seat of the president. I don't want to climb any ladder. I don't think politics has to do with ladder. I just want to be there.
So it goes. I'm sorry. It goes way beyond educational qualification.
Okay.
Because if you're going to now, it's one thing for you to rule, and it's another thing for you to lead. So you need to understand, why exactly does this person want to get into power? Are you vying for that position because
you want to rule, or
you want to rule, or you want to lead people?
Okay.
I think it all comes back to the whole personal interest and stuff. Now, are you actually going there because you care about the state of the country or the nation, or are you just going there to secure your own self and probably your family?
To provide a very direct answer to your question, to a large extent, we've seen some young people after that not young to run bill. They actually came out to vie for positions, but how much of support do we even give them as our colleagues, as co-young people? Do we really vibe with them? Do we really give them that support and the needed support?
Or do we really know them?
It's another thing. But I think I came across a particular young man who is almost about my age. When he was doing the thing, I will not lie, I was looking at him like, is this dude really serious? But he came, he sat us down, he was making a whole lot of points, saying so many things, but at the end of the day, the two most popular candidates, but like you said, first say it, He say, what's even wrong with the followers? You now act like you only see two jokers.
Okay.
Okay.
Recycle the same.
And then later you have the guts to blame the government.
Exactly.
Okay. Now we're saying it's okay for youths to come out to vie for position and the like, but I'm saying, do you have what it takes? See, there's something they say, if you want to like go into business, you have 10 million naira. You don't just put 10 million naira in business.
Okay.
You actually try with 100,000, or maybe you try with 1 million, and if it fails, you learn, and then you have more money. You invest in it. So you see someone that has never been. Okay, I'm sorry to you guys should not laugh. I know it's an in-house joke. You understand? I've never been a comrade. All of a sudden, wants to become president of Nigeria. How realistic? You talked about intention. I agree. You might have the best of intentions, but if you do not have the technical know-how, Nigeria is too big a sum to what's it called now, to gamble with.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. If you talk about the know-how, that means that this person could have a mentor or somebody who's like a role model, right? That puts them through.
Godfather.
So are you now? Wait, but does that mean we need godfathers now?
See, we need people that we can look up to.
But when you look up to them, is that not where godfatherism starts?
No, but the
We
thing
need
is, I
advice.
think when it comes to that angle where you're coming from, most times it's more or less like these godfathers are the ones that are actually leading. Do you understand?
Yeah,
They're
remember
like the
when
ones
they
that
talk
actually
about-
ruling. So, but this young person would just be there as a figurehead.
And then
Well, how did it start? Maybe because he's taking advice from that person who calls his role model a mentor, and it becomes a
I think
godfather
it
thing.
falls back to the way we've actually monetized the political system in Nigeria.
Okay.
You want to vie for a position and somebody splash money on you, sponsor you.
Sponsors it.
He talks to you, you have to listen.
Okay.
No, that's the case where we say, okay, we have a young leader, but now there's somebody ruling from the other room. So you're just a figurehead, and
You know,
they're telling
there
you
are so
how to do.
Backseat driving.
Do you understand?
There are so many
Yeah, no.
catchphrases, or do I call them jargons or technical language attached to the Nigeria political terrain.
Okay.
We have the cabals.
Yeah,
We
the
have the
cabal is a
cabals.
thing. It was a thing in 250.
We have godfathers, and then all of a sudden we also have the budget party. They keep coming. Every season comes with a particular one.
Yeah, but
Like seasons.
I was trying to say, okay, fine. As youths, we do not know it all, and we cannot gather experience by actually just taking the back seat and not doing anything at all. Yes, it is okay to have an advisor.
Okay.
It is because, like, people in government, I know in a system of youth gathering where I belong, if you've been a president before, like they call them emeritus, they have it's like a caucus where they advise the current or the incumbent what projects to undergo because they already have experience. So I kind of feel like if we have that kind of system, then it's okay. But when we have people like the godfathers, they actually tell you what to do.
It's like you have to
Like
do
you have to do what
like
you have to do. Now that
It's
is
dictation. Someone is dictating to
Yes.
you.
But I feel like we're actually just looking at it from the mere side of campaigns or competitive elections. We've not really looked at it from appointments.
Okay.
You know, from the angle of appointment, you have somebody in power who appoints somebody who is up to 60 years as an ambassador for youth, or somebody who is supposed to do something with the money. And you're wondering, like, from the age of 25 or 18 down to 30 something, that's the UN recognized age range for youth. We don't have anybody who is qualified to do that. Or then
is it that we don't have anybody who is qualified, or for some reason because of the way things are, you just feel, oh no,
They feel
these
like
people, do you understand, like, you know, you're not ready yet. Your
somebody-
tomorrow is not here yet.
somebody actually said that political appointments are political compensation.
That's
Exactly.
agreeable, and it's truly agreeable to an extent. And then, you know, looking at all of these things, somebody raised an argument sometimes in a place I was opportune to be, and I said, you may be right, but if you look at these people very well, he said why he may not be clamoring for too much youth inclusion is the fact that the few youths that have gotten the opportunity have not really performed very well. He made mention of some names, some state governors, and now I say, look at it very well. Are these people still under the youth bracket?
But they're way younger than
The elites and the rest we've been talking about. Look at, like France, we had somebody in his early 30s.
Yeah, as president.
As president. And then here, once somebody who is up to 30 gets a very an appointment which is not really do I say very, very pertinent, and all, we still celebrate over that.
Yeah,
Then
because it's
we
a
give
rare,
the juicy
rare
one. Yeah, we
opportunity.
give the juicy ones to people who have actually been there,
Over and
and
over.
over and over.
We're
And
actually just calling for a total reform.
Yeah, at the
The
end of the
Possibly.
day.
system, the entire system.
but before we do that, you said something. We really need to go back and then to individual level and unlearn some certain things, because
Exactly.
the whole practice is quite endemic to an extent now. Even the young dude that is going there will tell you, now my time. You want to make I not do this one.
So
Now,
do
me,
you
if you say
understand?
you
So you'd be
get-
like, oh, this.
When I come down from there and maybe I start trekking with you tomorrow, you'll be the first person to
To
insult me.
abuse you, but that's not a lie though. True,
So
it's a lie.
we them again
Yeah.
and then redefine it. By that way, we'll be encouraging people to do what's right, because we tend to celebrate and glorify the wrongs from this part of the
Yeah.
world, and then we don't pay attention to people who are actually doing the right thing.
I think
The
it's
question
about
is, do we actually still remember what these wrong things are?
because
A
they're
lot,
like
a lot,
normal
do you
things.
understand? A lot of
now.
things have been normalized now.
And I also feel like it's about that time where we demand what we deserve and not just settle for whatever
We get.
given.
Wow.
Yes,
Okay.
to a large extent. Now talk about youth. You talk about youth inclusion in politics, and the first thing that comes to a regular Nigerian mind is the thuggery and that they use them for during elections. And a lot of times they come on TV and social media, and they tell you, when they ask you to come and do these things, ask them to use their sons. But now you hear people say, see that even the vote selling, vote buying, and they
Yeah.
give you
That's,
500.
transactional politics.
Yes, they give you 500 or 1,000 naira and ask you to vote for them, and you do. Okay, now the last time I was at a polling unit, I asked a lady. She's about over 60,
Okay.
and I was like, they said if you're going to vote for this particular party, come this way. And then I was going to make a video, and my sister was like, I still love you, don't try it.
You
Wow.
could be lynched.
Yeah, no, I was serious.
Honestly.
It was really funny. Then I was running a personal blog, and then they were like, if you're going to vote for this particular party, come this way. And every time you vote, they give you money. And
Wow.
then yes, you vote. And
Which election was this?
was that 2015?
2015.
Yeah.
2015. Okay.
Yes, I think that was 2015. And then I just actually went there with my sister. And then they what you vote, and they give you money and stuff. And then I called this lady. What actually got me, or what made me ask her, was we were in a group, before the people arrived and stuff. We were in a group, and then they were discussing politics. And she came off as very intelligent. She knew what should happen, what shouldn't happen. She had a lot to say. And then it was time. She went there. And then there was this question that was asked her. Why did you do it when with everything that you know? She was like, this is the only money from government that she's ever going to get, and she knows. So she'd rather just take what she can and then go. Because she knows that after now, she might never get to eat off government again.
Wow.
So maybe that mindset is what we really have to, they say we have to unlearn a lot of things. So it shouldn't be
whole
like
lot.
status quo. And then they call you and they ask you to be their political talks during election. You feel like it's an opportunity. Is that the jobs we're supposed to have? Because if you have a job that pays well and you're offered 50,000 to just be a talk, you definitely will not take it.
It actually boils down to, it comes back to what we talked about when we mentioned unemployment as
One of the major
factor.
driving force
Yeah.
for some of these illegal acts.
Wow. Well, you heard that a whole lot. We talked about private stakeholders, especially in the angle of entertainment. So on that part, you could let us know if today, because we've heard the stories in United States of America, where Kanye West came out and wanted to be president.
Hey.
Why are you laughing?
No, like
Under
the
bed-
Korean
under
generation,
birthday
like,
party.
I-
Okay, and we also know there was a certain time we had Patrick Boma, one footballer somewhere in one of these countries. Sierra Leone. Patrick Boma also wanted to contest. That was that period. He contested against Serena Johnson, of which he didn't win though, but he was a footballer. And we also had a certain time where Wyclef Jean wanted to contest for Haiti. So let's ask ourselves, in Nigeria, if you were going to look at all our celebrities around and to think who do you feel is in the better? Who would you say, if today the person is going to be president, you would say, yes, my vote is for this person? Let's look at all that, but we'll start from the affirmative action, 30% affirmative action in Nigerian governance before we'll dive into all that. Go nowhere, we'll play a song by Biza Kim, and he calls this one Vanilla. Enjoy.
All over, anytime you come over, girl, not game over. And when you reach for me, my heart and my soul sing. You're the magic in my dreams, you're the diamond in my rings. Baby, no darling, no shit, no fronting, no quit. Anytime you need me, I go there. Baby, no darling, no shit.
Probably did it,
Young Billionaire music.
We was on the vibe, was on the wave thing. You know me, I'm not the type of waiting. Now my desire busy wasting. Cause I've been feeling Cupid really lately. Get myself excuses, didn't know I was being stupid. Now myself, I don't know what to do with. This shit, it just left me up in ruins. This shit, it just left me up in ruins. Cause we was on the vibe, was on the wave thing. You know me, I'm not the type of waiting. Now my desire busy wasting. Cause I've been feeling Cupid really lately. Get myself excuses, didn't know it's been stupid. Now myself, I don't know what to do with. This shit, it just left me up in ruins. This shit, it just left me up in ruins. They say the more that you knocking, they say the door will be open. What if they find you obnoxious and then the door steady closing? And when you keep, and when you be in the mail, they say you keeping it post. Okay, but as long as I keep you close, okay. And you know I want everyone to know, okay. And you be more than for sure, even though you beautiful. This shit has been making me so crazy. It's infectious the way that you being wavy. Cause you can with that thunder, you be like raining. You be fire in the streets when it be raining. So could it be something I be like maybe that somehow you could turn into my baby. But sometimes I don't know what I be saying, and sometimes I don't know what I be saying. We was on the vibe, was on the wave thing. You know me, I'm not the type of waiting. Now my desire busy with you been really lately. Get myself excuses, didn't know I was being stupid. Now myself, I don't know what to do with. This shit, it just left me up in ruins. This shit, it just left me up in ruins. Cause we was on the vibe, was on the wave thing. You know me, I'm not the type of waiting. Now my desire busy wasting. Cause I've been feeling you been really lately. Get myself excuses, didn't know I was being stupid. Now myself, I don't know what to do with. This shit, it just left me up in ruins. They should've just left me up in ruins. You wavy like the Atlantic, and so I started to panic. It wasn't something I planned. I wish I could take it back, but please, what good isn't that? Already knew for a fact that I don't wanted it back. If anything, try to take it, I be wanting it back. I couldn't talk on my feelings, and so I spoke on a check. Just cause I figured I could win on a check. Win on a check. I could win on a check. We was on the vibe, was on the wave team. You know me, I'm not the type of waiting. Not my desire, busy wasting. Cause I've been feeling Cupid really lately. Get myself excuses, didn't know I was being stupid. Now myself, I don't know what to do with. They should've just let me up in ruins. Cause we was on the vibe, was on the wave team. You know me, I'm not the type of waiting. Not my desire, busy wasting. Cause I've been feeling Cupid really lately. Get myself excuses, didn't know I was being stupid. Now myself, I don't know what to do with. They should've just let me up in ruins. They should've just let me up in ruins.
Incredible.
YBM. Follow, Fali, did it,
Boy.
Tim is getting leg. My baby give it to me, you know say waiting you got it, baby, you know say you get it, wait. Baby give me love, oh, yeah. Baby give me trust, oh. Baby give me love, oh yeah. Baby give me trust. I no go lie, what I'm feeling inside. You make a nigga wanna turn upside down. The way you roll, the way you shake, come on me baby girl, oh yeah, give me brain. You be my rhythm and blues. Happy to make you my muse. Yeah, yeah. And I catch you for the news. Oh, be a baby for the groove. You be my rhythm and blues. Happy to make you my muse. And I catch you for the news. Oh, be a baby for the groove. Ah, oh yeah. Oh baby, give me all the loving. Oh baby, give me all the loving. Na na na. My baby say ah, oh yeah. Oh baby, give me all the loving. Oh baby, give me all the loving. Na na na. Give me all the loving.
Touch me, love it when the right is getting bumpy. When the good boys getting naughty, love the way you take the stress of me. Oh boy, I'm into you. Oh, when you into me, I'm at the pinnacle. I'll ride with you, every meaning through. I know the cups on me. Not to beg, then we switch up the angles. Now you are one bliss till the end. Oh, straight up, I know you wanna make me bend. Oh, baby, make my legs go long. I wanna feel wet when I walk. Look how you going down the middle from the top. Oh, baby, don't stop. I got 69 tensions, my thoughts are freaky. Give me overdose of love and makes me gritty. Really love the way you get me filthy. Oh, and you're China, it's me. make a while. I love this cat and I no go tire. Baby, I need you daily. Baby, I want you daily. Baby, give me hands and make a while. I love this cat and I no go tire. Baby, I need you daily. You know I want you daily. You know I want you tonight. All I need is you. Baby, not the lover you to give me jaja. Promise say you no go play me like fella. Anytime you want me, I can stay there. Be my man, I no go be your baby. Baby, give me hands and make a while. I love this cat and I no go tire. Baby, I need you daily. Baby, I want you daily. Baby, give me hands and make a while. I love this cat and I no go tire. Baby, I need you daily. You know I want you daily. Baby, give me hands and make a while. I love this cat and I no go tire. Baby, I need you daily. Baby, I want you daily. Baby, give me hands and make a while. I love this cat and I no go tire. Baby, I need you daily. You know I want you daily. Baby, give me hands and make a while. Forever and ever. Party. I love this cat and I no go tire. Forever and endless. Party. Baby, I need you daily. I never party. Baby, I want you daily. Baby, give me hands and make a while. I love this cat and I no go tire. Baby, I need you daily. Baby, I want you daily. Baby, give me hands and make a while. I love this cat and I no go tire. Baby, I need you daily. You know I want you daily. Baby, give me hands and make a while. I love this cat and I no go tire. Baby, I need you daily. Baby, I want you daily. Baby, give me hands and make a while. I love this cat and I no go tire. Baby, I need you daily. You know I want you daily.
Slosh.
You go bow, your body bow. You go bow, manica bow. You go bow, your body bow. Why you Ghana must go? They make me want you tisa. Ori me tisa. Watch I you tisa. Why you Ghana must go? They make all the boys them tisa. Ori me tisa. Watch I you tisa. Monica bow, you go bow, your body bow, you go bow, Monica bow, you go bow, your body bow. Monica bow, you go bow, your body bow, you go bow, Monica bow, you go bow, your body bow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Get your body fire. Power us getting no the tire, fire. Oh, give me that push, then it higher. Monica bow, what's up? Do me like sour. Oh, chicky, heavy, jump. You want to kill the air, go bow. Why you Ghana must go? You they make me want you tisa. Ori me tisa. Watch I you tisa. Why you Ghana must go? You they make all the boys them tisa. Ori me tisa. Watch I you tisa. Monica bow, you go bow, your body bow, you go bow, Monica bow, you go bow, your body bow. Monica bow, you go bow, your body bow, you go bow, Monica bow, you go bow, your body bow. Nobody bad fool like me. Bow, you go bow, Monica bow, you go bow, your body bow. Monica bow, you go bow, your body bow, you go bow, Monica bow, you go bow, your body bow.
Baby girl, you come from the way you dance on the beat, girl, you come from the way you mash up the place, girl, you come from the way you dance on the beat, girl, you come from yeah. dance on the beat, girl, you come from. The way you mash up the place, girl, you come from. The way you dance on repeat, girl, you come from. Yeah, on repeat, oh, on repeat, oh. Me, I like the way you dance on repeat, oh. Bring it back, oh, put it down, oh. Me, I like the way you mash up the place, oh. Cause now only you with the cock up. When your body go down, you they mash up. Hey, your body bad, oh. The way you they look me be like pussycat, oh. Baby girl, you come from. The way you dance on the beat, girl, you come from. The way you mash up the place, girl, you come from. The way you dance on repeat, girl, you come from. Yeah, baby girl, you come from. The way you dance on the beat, girl, you come from. The way you mash up the place, girl, you come from. The way you dance on repeat, girl, you come from. Yeah. Bring the money, she ma roll with you. Spend the money, she ma dance with you. When you give her the money, she go home with you. Cause she want no storyteller. She bust in my mind, no. Me, I like the way she dance on the beat, oh. She bust in my mind, no. Cause now this baby, when they make me the grace, so. Oluchi, dance ya. Neka, dance ya. Aisha, dance ya. Nafisa, dance ya. Me, I like the way that, dance ya. Me, I feel the way that, dance ya. You they make me want to, dance ya. Baby, no doubt. Baby girl, you come from. The way you dance on the beat, girl, you come from. The way you mash up the place, girl, you come from. The way you dance on repeat, girl, you come from. Yeah, baby girl, you come from. The way you dance on the beat, girl, you come from. The way you mash up the place, girl, you come from. The way you dance on repeat, girl, you come from. Yeah, like the way you dance to the beat, oh. Everybody just look your way, so. Say this baby too bad, oh. And she they make me they mad, oh. Slash P on the beat, I they mad, oh. You go dance to this tune, you go mad, oh. Oluchi, dance ya. Neka, dance ya. Aisha, dance ya. Nafisa, dance ya. Me, I like the way that, dance ya. Me, I feel the way that, dance ya. You they make me want to, dance ya. Baby, no doubt. Baby girl, you come from. The way you dance on the beat, girl, you come from. The way you mash up the place, girl, you come from. The way you dance on repeat, girl, you come from. Yeah, baby girl, you come from. The way you dance on the beat, girl, you come from. The way you mash up the place, girl, you come from. The way you dance on repeat, girl, you come from. Yeah. Slash P on the beat, oh. I say come from, this song I come from, Slash P now come from, I be killing the beat. Slash P on the mix.
Alright, shorty pull up on me because you don't die. With me you would be alright.
You know why you know they call me anymore. And if I call you, you know they like to pick my call. Now your picture be the mirror for my wall. Be like something where I no go feel level. Me I know they want you, yeah. Yelly I go show you. I know say you be mine you, yeah. So for your sake I go play football. For you I go do the right thing. Even mommy what I no go come clean, girl. I'm always on a cool man thing. With a little bit of romancing, girl. Yeah, you chocolate. I'm better with your body, no, they make me wait. Elevate your body, make I lose my mind. If you see me for your get again, now you are just a fine. Yeah. See, make you mellow. See, now you the boy you want follow. No, they waste your time, challo. Cause so you are done the tongue bolo. Hello. See, now you the man you want follow. No, they waste your time, challo. Make you know they keep a man solo.
I'm losing my mind to you. Got me confusing my feelings. You turn all the nights to blue. How you got me hooked like man, I tripping for you. Scaling our defense means nothing for you. Pull up on time, got nothing to lose. Show up, I'm nice, got something to prove. I say you know, ain't nobody do it like me. Even mommy, what I know they can't clean. Hey, I'm always on a cool man thing with a little bit of romancing. I dare your game, if you dare my game. I go there with you, I go take away the pain. Show you many things where I no go fit to say. Only if you there with me, you go know for where I tell.
See, make you mellow. See, now you the boy you want follow. No, they waste your time, challo. Cause so you are done the tongue bolo. Hello. See, now you the man you want follow. No, they waste your time, challo. Make you know they keep a man solo. See, now you the boy you want follow. See, now you the boy you want. Yeah, you chocolate. I'm better with your body, no, they make me wait. Elevate your body, make I lose my mind. If you see me for your get again, now you are just a fine girl.
Love for me because you don't die.
Alright,
love for me.
Can you know I be alright all night? So can you know we be alright?
See, make you mellow. See, now you the boy you want follow. To the waste of time, jello. Cause so you are done it on bolo. Hello. See, now you the man you want follow. To the waste of time, jello. Make you know they keep a man solo.
Come on, Shaliwa. I like the way you want Shaliwa. Oh, so for come on, Shaliwa. I like the way you want Shaliwa. Oh, so for come on, Shaliwa. I like the way you want Shaliwa. Oh, so for come on, Shaliwa. I like the way you want Shaliwa. Oh, see the way you move, and I can tell. I like the way you move. I'ma give everybody showcase. Hola, everybody rotate. So she put me in the mood. I swear I no feel like I go, yeah. With the way that she groove. With the way your body banging, no, I no go be trying to lose. I no go be trying to lose. She say she like my banana. Baby, your body not the fire. She say she like my banana. Baby, your body not the fire. Baby, bad, girl, like your body bounce, baby, bad, girl, like your body bounce, you bad, see my baby bad, so for come my boy, Shaliwa. I like the way you want, Shaliwa, so for come my boy, Shaliwa. I like the way you want, Shaliwa, so for come my boy, Shaliwa. I like the way you want, Shaliwa, so for come my boy, Shaliwa. I like the way you want Shaliwa. See the way you move, and I can tell. I like the way you move. When you see me in the club, baby, make you know sin on the fire day. You know ranking RDC when we mash up the place on man I'm higher. Baby, where your waist? Make you know never heard me. This your beautiful waist. Make man direct you. Boy, I suffer come my girl. Me and never done. Anytime me enter the place, not to pop. Girls them come, guys them come. See champagne, I'm out waiting with no pop. But the girls them fire. All the guys them fire. All the girls them fire. All the guys them fire. See nobody hold you. All the girls them come around, them show you to the money, no. So for come my boy, Shaliwa. I like the way you want, Shaliwa. So for come my boy, Shaliwa. I like the way you want, Shaliwa. So for come my boy, Shaliwa. I like the way you want, Shaliwa. So for come my boy, Shaliwa. I like the way you want, Shaliwa. See the way you move, and I can tell. I like the way you move. Somebody like
You say, don't play no game. Right now, I there for you, girl. I see you fine girl from the internet. You do make it sense, and you get finesse. I no go lie, I go like to be your friend. If you want connect, we go there, okay. Why for me? Go down for me. I like the way you put it down on me. They make me hydrate too. Right now, body don't they vibrate too. Why for me? Go down for me. I like the way you put it down on me. They make me hydrate too. Right now, body don't they vibrate too. You say, oh, don't play no game. Right now, I there for you, girl. Your body go do me something. You say, oh, don't play no game. Right now, I there for you now. Your body go do me something. Make a no lie, you do me something. Fine girl, make you slow down. I no go lie, your body calling. Call me, make a pleaser. Showcase, I live. Body so high, you be high grade. Showcase, I live.
Your body so high, you be high grade. Show my way well. Follow the leader, give me the ginger. Check him be well. Follow me lead, come make a pleaser. Show my way well. Follow the leader, give me the ginger. Check him be well. Follow me lead, come make a pleaser. I see you fine girl from the internet. You do make sense, and you get finesse. I no go lie, I go like to be your friend. If you want connect, we go there okay. Why for me, go down for me. I like the way you put it down on me, you they make me hydrate. Right now, body don't they vibrate. Why for me, go down for me. I like the way you put it down on me, you they make me hydrate. Right now, body don't they vibrate. You say, don't play no game. Right now, I there for you, girl. You say, don't play no game. Right now, I there for you now. She be fine lady, killer with the smile I see. Me, I want to figure things I see. How your body movements, they flow like this. I'ma get done up. Say now only you want the desire. If you need the love, I can do it. Me, I no play, keep on the drama. Roll on me like a dial. Show my baby. Follow the leader, give me the ginger. Check him be well. Follow me lead, come on please. Show my baby. Follow the leader, give me the ginger. Check him be well. Follow me lead, come on please. You say, don't play no game. Right now I'm there for you. You say, don't play no game. Right now I'm there for you. Sometimes when she
work hard all day, but that's no pay. Oh, I did pray to God, me also they pay you one day. Work hard all day, but that's no pay. Oh, I did pray to God, me also they pay you one day. And they do my shine your light on me, shine your light on me. And they do my shine your light on me. Oh no, and they do my shine your light on me, shine your light on me. And they do my shine your light on me. Oh no, pen and paper, rhyming songs. Hope and say one day I'm gonna blow. Pen and paper, rhyming songs. I know say talent for street them yakba, but give me the grace to stand out. Talent for street them yakba, but give me the strength to fight. I know I got what it takes. I'm gonna blow your mind. I know I got what it takes. Oh no, I know I got what it takes. I'm gonna blow your mind. I know I got what it takes. Oh no, work hard all day, but that's no pay. Oh, I did pray to God, me also they pay you one day. Work hard all day, but that's no pay. Oh, I did pray to God, me also they pay you one day. And they do my shine your light on me, shine your light on me. And they do my shine your light on me. Oh no, and they do my shine your light on me, shine your light on me. And they do my shine your light on me. Oh no. Every day we'll be hustling, every day we'll be grinding, every day we'll be hustling, from Monday to Sunday. No, they tired for me. I know say you don't try, oh. You don't try, oh. You don't try. I know I got what it takes. I'm gonna blow your mind. I know I got what it takes. Oh no.
I know the love beggar. Let the Lord please, I know the love beggar. Let the Lord please, I know the love beggar. Let the Lord please, I know the love beggar. Crossing in, me do from Mama Quava. No be high class, I'm just conductor.
That's when nipper bad, they pray to the Father. Every move make it lead me to my helper. She got me sound, Juma make her prosper. Many girls, it go hard to find a lover. The day I go hit, I go single Zana. Yeah, name in fade day. I can hold you chong. Yeah, oh, I can hold you chong. I buy new car. Oh, yeah, chong. I can hold you chong. Oh, yeah, chong. Name in fade day. I can hold you chong. Yeah, oh, I can hold you chong. I buy new car. Oh, yeah, chong. I can hold you chong. Oh, yeah, chong. Patase. Sometimes I dey borrow shoes with the shotos to party. You don't know the saddest. As this nigga got the point, them of showing 90s. Menese campo amenante. If you have to miss me, my friend, my mente. Or brasha say me the free fante. Cape cool, soft pon, echo prim when I'm in fade day. I can hold you chong. Yeah, oh, I can hold you chong. I buy new car. Oh, yeah, chong. I can hold you chong. Oh, yeah, chong. I'm in fade day. I can hold you chong. Yeah, oh, I can hold you chong. I buy new car. Oh, yeah, chong. I can hold you chong. Oh, yeah, chong. Come on, Junior, me I go deliver. I know come across to come be a viewer. This crash is not gonna make me a loser. Share, I the work like Yokozuna. Cause I know one day you go better. People will go benefit with those without the border. The nights you sleep lonely on the sofa. Sugar solution, bread with the butter. What kept you on a meal fade day? I can hold you chong. Yeah, oh, I can hold you chong. I buy new car. Oh, yeah, chong. I can hold you chong. Oh, yeah, chong. I mean fade day. I can hold. Crossing in me do chrome mama kwaba. No be high class, I'm just conductor. Mesu nipa bada they pray to the Father. Every move make it lead me to my helper. She ram in sound Juma make her prosper. Many girls it go hard to find a lover. The day I go hit, I go single Zana. Yeah, name in fade day. I can hold you chong. Yeah, oh, I can hold you chong. I buy new car. Oh, yeah, chong. I can hold you chong. Oh, yeah, chong. Yeah, name in fade day. I can hold you chong. Yeah, oh, I can hold you chong. I buy new car. Oh, yeah, chong. I can hold you chong. I can hold you chong. You don't have people to forget when them forget you. My life, that's how it is, so I get you. Drake says it out here. Can't go conscious to see you. AK on him.
Mama, she don't tell me long. Say people go to try to pull it down. What your brother man move past. Yeah. Nobody fit to turn off me light though. I for be the gentleman. The street to the place to the week. Only one thing kill a man. When you don't get your options to enjoy. Yeah.
So I say no. Cause you no go die now. Me I want to live my life. Lele o rimu. O lele o sha. See me I want to live my life. O lele o pa. O lele o rimu. O lele o sha. See me I want to live my life.
Person know the talk if you check on, and then you go know my word. Another person no go tell you story. Yeah. Me I know they find your trouble. No find me first, I'm on G-Burst. You know man I reaper, slow it down. I'm feeling like I'm on a heater burning now. Don't you say you be river flow now. Trouble no go pay me, can let you know. Even now they was in the blind, you catch it go.
So I say no. Person no go die now. Me I want to live my life. Me I want to live it right. So I say no. Me I no go die now. Me I want to live my life. Me I want to live it right. Olelele opa, olelele orimu, olelele osha. See me I want to live my life. Olelele opa, olelele orimu.
It's like that.
Olelele osha. See me I want to live my life.
Master planner, let me get the master plan. Fast and pray, I tell my guys to fast and plan.